Another topic from human resource management knowledge area is about conflict management. In project, we interact with people, and when people are interacting about priorities, about timelines, about cost and options, it's natural to have some level of conflict in a project team. So let's look at conflict management at length. People working on a project may have conflicts primarily related to the reason of when. When are we getting this particular deliverable? When I am getting this particular machine for my test environment? Time, schedule. Many research says that schedule or time is the topmost reason of conflict in projects. Then second comes what or the priorities. So when we are talking about priorities, what is important? What should we do first? Which feature should go in this particular product? That also generates conflict. The third possible dimension of conflict could be who. Who would work on this particular module? Who will work on this particular area? Few team leaders would be asking for the same resource because they believe this resource is more capable, more smart to execute things efficiently, and that resource usually generates conflict among the teams. How also generate a good amount of conflicts, usually a low intensity conflicts. How should we develop a particular module? What kind of pattern, what kind of design methodology we should use? What kind of color combination we should use? So the what and how sometimes get together when we are discussing about technical priorities, technical options and technical approaches, and all these things generates conflict. Many times people believe that conflicts are primarily because of personalities, like this guy does not like the other guy and that's why they keep talking. In project management, we believe, and the various research also substantiate that belief, that personality is the least reason or not that common reason of generating conflict in project environment. We usually get conflicts more about time, cost, option, priorities. Now, when we get this, what to do further? Here we are in conflict. Who should take action to resolve these things? So let's talk about responsibility. Now it is said that people who are in conflict should resolve them themselves. So first responsibility of resolving conflict is to the people who are in conflict. As a project manager, you have a responsibility of resolving unresolved conflict. Now, can we avoid conflict? In project management theory, we believe that some level of conflict in a project is healthy. We should not assume a state, we should not visualize a state where there is a zero conflict in a project team. There will be a conflict. But it does not mean that as a project manager, we don't take steps to reduce or avoid unnecessary conflicts. So as a project manager, you are responsible to avoid unnecessary conflicts via following a clear communication. Via setting up a structure. Now, how do you set the structure? By way of project management plan, which tells us how to prioritize things. When there is a discussion or a conflict about the priorities, what kind of factors should be taken into consideration for deciding which option is better? By setting up, say, ground rules. In a day-to-day small operations, if we have a ground rule set it up, it helps in reducing the overall conflict levels. So clear communication, using structure, using project management plan, because if you are talking about when are we going to do this, the project management plan should communicate, the schedule should communicate when can we expect a particular deliverable, why that deliverable is coming on that particular date. So if we do the project planning well, these things, unnecessary conflicts will get reduced. So once we have a conflict, what to do? We need to resolve it. And in PMBOK, we have 5 conflict resolution techniques which we should keep in mind from exam point of view, because human resource management is an important knowledge area since it gives you many processes in executing process growth. So let us look at the conflict resolution. Now there is a technique called problem solving or collaborate. Now we collaborate or we solve the problem. In this conflict management technique, we try to get deep into the problem or the reason of the problem, and we find the right option based on clear defined criteria which helps to achieve project goals. So both the parties look at the problem as just as a problem, keep their emotions away and find the best possible solution for the given conflict situation. Let's take an example. You have an example where 2 teams has a conflict about a date of a given deliverable. Now this deliverable is important for team B because they have various things scheduled on the base of this particular deliverable. They have to work further on it, they have to use it, etc., etc. And team A has various other priorities. They also have their own deliverables, and this is one of the deliverables which is not at that priority. Now this team is asking for this for delivering this particular deliverable, say 1 week in advance, because they have few problems about their own productivity and they want this 1 week in advance, and this team is not willing to do anything about their request. So we have a conflict. So if we are following a problem solving or a collaborative approach, both the teams need to look into the reasons. They need to look why they are asking for early delivery, and team B also need to look into why the team A cannot deliver it early. Then they need to look at overall project objective. Which option, even if the team A gets impacted because of delivering this early, but if this helps in achieving the project objective, they select the option which helps us in getting the project done faster. So it's like a problem solving technique where both teams are understanding each other's problem. They are also looking at the project goal and taking the final decisions. So as visible in example, the problem solving or a collaborative technique requires a trust among the parties. So team A and team B should trust each other, then only they can look into the problem. If they don't have a trust, team B thinks that team A is unnecessarily delaying the deliverable, then this conflict management cannot happen using collaboration. It will take usually more time. Since you need to do an analysis, you need to identify the underlying reason of the approach or the stand which both the teams are taking. It generates sustainable agreement. So it's a long-term agreement. Since we have gone into the details, whatever we agree will stay for long. It should be taken, this approach should be taken when the stakes are high. And we also care about the second party B. So it's not like that whatever you want to do, I will not do it. So if we really care about team B, then we should get into a collaborative and problem solving type of conflict resolution. A second type of conflict resolution technique is compromise. Now in a compromise, we try to find a middle ground. Rather than going into too much details, we try to find out what is the solution which is acceptable. It may not be the best, acceptable by both the parties. And we take that and move forward. So let's take an example for compromise. Say you want to meet, there are two people and they want to have a meeting for 1 hour. This person is saying that let's meet at 5. This person is saying let's meet at 4 because he has something starting at 5, he has something finishing between 4 to 5. So his slot is not available and his 5 onward slot is not available. So they may agree that okay, let us meet at 4:30 and let's have this meeting between 4:30 to 5:30. It's a compromise. So both of them will adjust their schedule and make this meeting between 4:30 and 5:30. In this particular problem, they are not getting into the details. They are not asking this meeting is important, why you have to meet this guy, why can't you meet at 5 o'clock, my priorities are high or your priorities are high. They are not doing those kind of discussions. They are not getting into the problem solving. They are just having a discussion, finding a middle ground and going ahead with it. So this technique is good when the stakes are not that high. It's not a big problem, it's just a meeting. So stakes are usually not high. The second party is important. So relationship is important. It's not like that I will say that whatever you do, I can only meet at 5 o'clock. It's up to you, you want to meet or not meet. If we are not saying that, we are having a compromise, means both the believe in relation. Both the parties are losing something and say getting something. It's not like that we are getting the best solution, we are just compromising on something. It may not take that much time. So related to collaborating and problem solving, it may take less time because over the phone call we can just agree without getting into the details about why you need what. A third technique, forcing. Dictatorship, only my way. I want this, do it, or I will find someone else. This is good when you know that you are right. You know the relation is not important. Or you can say that the goal or the stake is such a high that on comparison to that particular state, when we compare the stake versus relation goes at very low priority. Take an example. We say that forcing is always bad, but it may work. For example, you want to launch your product, and while launching, you need some marketing material ready by 1st of January, and your vendor is saying that he cannot deliver it by 10th, like he can only deliver it on 10th January. You may adapt this option, either give it on 1st or I find someone else. Simple. Because I know for my project this is important, I don't want to get into the details, why cannot you deliver it, okay your designer is on leave, etc. etc. I don't bother. I only bother about my priority and I can find someone else. So you may apply a forcing technique when you have a conflict, especially with the vendors, where the relation is not that important, he is not your team member, or you are in the state of emergency. You might be knowing many development or projects got delivered in exceptional timelines during the World War. So if you are at a war, you may not care about the feeling of the other, you just care about the goal. So in such kind of emergency situation, you can also use a forcing technique. When you say that I need this deliverable on 1st January, do it. There is no other option, because if you don't do it, the government will apply $10 million penalty on our organization. So you don't care what happens after that, but everybody is just focused to get this thing done. So forcing is another way of resolving conflicts, where a powerful person, a person who has an authority, takes the decision and then the other party has to follow it. Forcing can only be applied by the powerful person on the person who is not that powerful or that influential. Now, beside these 3 techniques, we have 2 more techniques. And these techniques are, one is smoothing. So we try to smooth or accommodate. And another is withdrawal. Or say do nothing. Now smoothing and accommodating and withdrawals are kind of first level of conflict resolution. After that, you need to move to one of these 3 conflict resolution technique. So let's take an example. Same example, team A and team B is discussing about the deliverable timelines, but the atmosphere is so hot or so untrustworthy, people are not willing to listen each other. So as a project manager, you may try to talk about the principles, the values which both the teams believe in. We try to say that why are we doing this particular project? Both of you want that we get our project, we achieve our project objective by maximum extent. So by applying smoothing, we focus on the things where we have agreement, and we develop a trustworthy environment so that the second technique, a collaboration, can happen. If people are not trusting each other, they won't be able to listen to their problems and then find a solution. So smoothing, a temporary technique where we try to bring people at a table, try to focus on a common ground which both the teams are believing in. And once they reach there, we apply another technique, either collaborate or compromise or force. Force, you can put it either collaborate or compromise, and then take it further. Withdraw or do nothing. Same thing. When the team A, usually withdrawal will work good when a less powerful person is trying to apply forcing. Say, if the team A is just forcing you that you have to do it, and say team B is forcing you that you have to deliver it 1 week in advance, and there is no discussion on this particular thing, then team A may have an option not to respond at that particular time. They say nothing. Now, why they are doing it? Because they want to collect more information. They want to really understand why this B is so forceful about their demand. So, a withdrawal can be applied for temporary duration. In that particular duration, you may want to collect the information, or you may want to give a time to the situation where the team B may automatically realize that the demand which they were making was not justifiable. It was too unrealistic. So sometimes we think withdrawal is always negative. Yes, usually do nothing is not good. But in some cases, when somebody is trying to force their things on you and you are not in situation to counter it or compromise it, you may apply a withdrawal for a duration. So in our exam, we get some questions on conflict management. In general, we should focus on bringing the solution on a table by getting into root cause of the problem, by following collaborate and problem solving. But before doing that, we need to create an environment where this can happen. For that, we may need to apply smoothing. But in some cases, compromise, forcing and withdrawal can also work. But if you don't get any clue that what is the real situation and you just need to pick which conflict management technique is the best, you pick it, collaborating or problem solving.